Yes, Ms. Scott.
Dr. Gabra, I've got a handful of questions to ask you from core participants. What geographical area was served by the West of Scotland Blood Transfusion Service?
It was half of the Scottish population, but I can't remember figures, I'm sorry.
I think we saw a map of that, didn't we, Ms. Scott, at one stage in one of the documents?
We did, yes.
But it doesn't. It shows that it is a small part of a large Scotland, but the population is higher than the rest.
Can you recall whether it included the Western Isles? Did it cover the Western Isles? Can you remember?
The map didn't. It covered some, so I think it went up as far probably as I would think about as far as Mull, but I don't know that it went as far as Skye. I'd have to check again.
I don't think it did, sir.
Yes, no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't remember this.
Okay. Did you have regular contact with hospitals outside Glasgow City?
Yes, we served outside Glasgow City. Yes. All hospitals in the West Midlands were covered by the Glasgow service. That's as far as I remember, and I think that this is correct.
So when you were giving evidence about going first of all with Dr. Wallace and then subsequently to meet with clinicians and talk about the use of blood, it was all over the region. Was it all over the area?
No, it was. When I first met him, he was visiting Stirling, by the way, where I used to work. So it wasn't just Glasgow. It was other places, but I wouldn't be able to remember exactly where he has gone without me, if you see what I mean.
And the more remote hospitals, would you have contact with? Would you go and visit even the more remote hospitals?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to give you the correct the information that I can't remember knowing that the faraway hospitals were visited. But certainly it was easy, for instance, in Birmingham to contact these hospitals, and particularly the high usage was just across the border across the streets from the center. So in fact, I think it most likely that the faraway hospital were not visited. The low usage hospitals were not visited, but not all hospitals.
The inquiries heard evidence from Dr. Brian McClellan, that this area served by the Glasgow Transfusion Service was one of the worst areas for social and economic deprivation. What role did the economic position of the region have on the centre's ability to collect blood and blood components?
I'm not sure actually that this is because they are poor they don't come and give blood. I'm not sure that this is a fact, because many of the donors are people who are not really quite well off, and that's not only the country. That is, I think, in England that was also the case. But I really don't want to become involved in making my views that are not based on facts. But poor people are as good as rich people in giving blood.
When I was asking you, first, can I ask this general question first? Was any form of heating of blood or blood components or plasma-derived products ever researched or implemented, to your knowledge, in the
Yes,
Western Blood Transfusion Service, Western Scotland?
yes. Our plasma used to be heated to a certain degree. I can't remember the figure, and used as heated plasma. Yes.
When was that? Can you remember when that was?
No, I can't remember really. But that was the plasma that was issued. It was heat-treated plasma. It was in big tanks, and I think it's 60 degrees, not more than that. And for a specific time, I'm sorry, I can't remember the details. But that must be available in the products, yes.
And do you know?
So sorry, can I?
Yes,
Since you mentioned the treatment of plasma, which I unfortunately gave you the wrong example, the current cryoprecipitate that is used at the moment now is actually viral inactivated. So I was actually thinking of that this was the initial, but our material was not virally active. But at the moment it's viral inactivated, but not by heating, by something else, and that's why it is safe as well.
So the plasma that you were heating in the west of Scotland was
Well,
heated, do you think,
have we actually decided that it was in the west of Scotland that the plasma was heated? Dr. Gabra, when you talk about the plasma being heated to 60 degrees or whatever, where did the heating take place?
I can remember distinctly that it was done downstairs.
So actually in Law Hospital?
Yes, in the center, which is at Law Hospital.
Thank you.
Yeah.
and
I have a feeling that it was also done in Edinburgh.
at PFC?
No. When at the downstairs also in Edinburgh, they had facility for plasma.
That was going to be my next question. Do you know if any other centres were heating plasma, but you think Edinburgh was?
Yes, I'm not very sure about lots of things at the moment, but I think I'm very sure about this.
And you think it was heated to 60 degrees? Can you recall how long it was heated for?
No, I think I ought to look at how this was done before I put my foot again into something incorrect.
And what was the purpose of heating it? What was the point of it?
It was to make it safer, viral inactivation of some sort. And I have a feeling it reduced the transmission of infection. I don't want to go into things that I was involved in 40 years ago.
And do you think there would have been clinical evaluation of that heated plasma product?
I have a feeling that this must have happened because it was done as a sort of routine. It was a routine for all plasma that was in bottles.
And is your recollection that took place over a long period of time or a short period of time? Short period of time.
Yes. You mean the process of heating?
So, yeah, sorry, my question's not very clear. Was plasma heated at the West of Scotland Transfusion Centre over many years or just for a few months? Was it a short period?
For all the plasma that was sent out. Plasma was used in different forms. It was used in fluid. It was used in the bags. It was used in dried plasma as well, drying and then resuspension. So that was one of the types of plasma.
I was asking you questions about what's I was asking you questions about what whether the centre could have increased its production of cryoprecipitate in response to the AIDS crisis, and you gave some evidence that it would take a long time and you would need staff and equipment and so on.
It would be impractical.
Were you referring at that point to freeze-dried cryoprecipitate or conventional cryoprecipitate?
It was freeze-dried.
The freeze-dried. So if you've been...
There is a suspension with it.
So if you had been asked to increase your production of conventional cryoprecipitate, would that have been easier and would that have been achievable in a shorter time frame?
No, it's the same. The basic process is the same.
So the limitations were the same, whether it was freeze-dried or conventional cryoprecipitate.
Yes, but freeze-dried, it was easier to store. It was easier to know the dose that you are giving from the batches that you are using, etc.
And I asked you some questions about whether or not the centre took blood from military establishments, and you said that you thought that it had sessions in military establishments. Are you aware of whether or not blood was taken from US citizens, i.e. US military personnel stationed in Scotland?
No, I don't know about that.
You don't know about that?
And even the fact that we used to have it, I understand that the military service at the moment takes blood from the transfusion service, from our donors, not from their donors. They don't have facilities for blood collection from their donors.
So those are the questions from call participants that I was going to ask Dr. Gabra.
Yes. Well, I don't myself have any questions.
And I understand that Dr. Gabra's representatives don't have any questions either. So Dr. Gabra, is there anything that you would like to add to your evidence and say now?
No, not really. But in the time when I was working in Glasgow, I really thought and I felt that we were doing an excellent job. And when I traveled all over the place, I realized that the service in the UK, I could dare to say it was second to none from every point of view, because we cannot just talk about Glasgow or about Birmingham. We have to talk about the national transfusion services elsewhere. And I have seen wherever I have visited that we were doing excellent service for the community and excellent service mainly for our donors as well. So, of course, I'm sad, and I'm sad that, and I consider that this is a terrible thing to lose patients like this, like what has happened. But I think that the best that could have been done has been done, and it is. And I'm sad that I share the pain of those who lost their patients, the members of the family and their loved ones. It is sad, but it is. Transfusion service is not a joke. It is a very serious thing, and transfusion of blood, and it is not without its complications. Look how many people I have when I gave ordinary cryoprecipitate to little patients, in 1970. Many of them have had terrible pains and joints, and many of them have died. So it is itself a very serious condition. And I'm sad that this has happened, and we haven't been able to find the cause for the non-A1B until 1997 or 19. So that's really all what I wanted to say. It's not a defense, but I'm convinced, and I have given all my life for safety of blood, etc. And I don't think that I have been all that successful. We have not been all that successful as an organization anywhere in the world. That's really all what I wanted to say.
Well, thank you very much indeed for being prepared to give evidence to us. It can't be easy, I think, in a career which has lasted more than 60 years since you first became a doctor in Cairo, to remember everything that has happened, because you've been through a number of different jobs in a number of different places with a lot of different people. And you've done your best to struggle with some of the difficulties, I think, of giving evidence and remembering. Yes? You wanted to say something?
I just wanted to mention also that when I first started, there were centers in the UK that were still collecting blood in bottles, and I have seen the changes, and it was only one center that was available, and I am sure that many people have been affected by these shortcomings that we were having in the service early in the days after discovering the factor VIII for treatment of patients. So when I have had a radiotherapy for cancer prostate, and it was my decision, and I knew that there were problems that were going to happen, but many people don't know the problems that happen, the side effects that happen from this. So I'm sorry to say a personal thing like this, but this is an example for people who actually have treatments and they suffer from the side effects without realizing that we medics, we are terrible people. we use things to help them, but in the same time, it's not all that safe. And transfusion service is one, transfusion medicine is one of them. It is all the time. Up till now, we have terrible problems that are happening from errors and mistakes and so on. I hope you do not mind that I have spoken this way.
No, not at all. It's very much appreciated that you've given your time and the best of your recollection over that long period to us in an attempt to help. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Ms. Scott, tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have evidence from Dr. Bolton starting at 10.
So 10 o'clock tomorrow, Dr. Bolton.